Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. So for me, this is the first book that I ever read. Like since I when I got out of high school, that is when I stopped reading. So when I went to campus, for me, only read only for the course, and then after that, like I never read any book. It was just only about the course. So in 2021 now, I was looking for answers to my questions, and this was after I'd walked away from sales. So in 2021, I was doing sales I was selling gas at that time. But what happened is that I burned out, and when I walked away, I think now the next week after walking away, so now I look around like, what, what do I have to show for all the effort I've put in the selling of the gas? And when I look around, I realize that there wasn't much I could say because it was just a few things that I had bought. And for me, my question was, where did the money go? And that is why now I remember that there is a book that I've been presented in 2019 that I even never got like to a quarter of it. And this is when I picked it up again. And now this book was now the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So when I read this book, what I realized is that my main issue was that I did not have like the rich mindset. Like I wanted to do it, but my mindset was not there. So I was not aligned with my feelings, my thoughts, and also now my habits. So reading this book now made it so clear to me. And also the other thing I realized is that there were six main lessons in the book that I can say, in addition now to the rich mindset. And now what Kiyosaki mainly does is that it gives you two sides of the story. Like gives you the perspective of his poor dad who was a teacher, and then it gives you the perspective of the rich dad who was an entrepreneur. So the six main lessons I learned from this book is that the first one was that the rich don't work for money, money work for them. So he uses an example of when he was now they were being told like practically by the rich dad, him and Mike. So Mike was his neighbor. So what they do is that there's a period they reach and now he tells them that he will not be paying them anymore. And that point is when now he tells them that they need to come up with ideas from their mind. Now one of the ideas they come up with is that they notice that there is someone who come to collect the comics from the place that he work at. And now they talk to the manager of that place and they tell her that they will be renting the books. And then by renting the book now, they charge the other kid to be there. Now, the other thing they do is that they employ my sister to be like the librarian. So it's like she's the one in charge of those books. So they are not there. Like the way that told them is that we're going to start a business. You don't have to be there. Like it can run without you. So that is the first lesson. Like making money work for you. So all they notice is that when they pay Mark's sister, they don't have to bother with other things because now it is just they when they pay their sister, they just divide the profit among themselves. So the second one was why teach financial literacy. So Kiyosaki talks about like not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. how much it worked for you, and how long you keep it for. So the main lesson here is that the main goal for you, for if you are dealing with money, is not how much you make. Like, doesn't matter whether you are making 20,000 or you are making 100,000. What matters is that it's what you do with it. So that is now the second lesson. Like, doesn't matter whether you are having a salary of 20,000 or 100,000. So what really matters is that you pay yourself first, and then after paying yourself, now you invest in cash flow producing assets. That lesson is minding your own business. So Kiyosaki talks about four kinds of businesses. So the first one is when you mind the business of an employer. So that is when now you are an employee, like when you are working for someone. The second one is working for the government. So you work for the government through the taxes. So, like, every time you receive an income, the government takes a piece of it. So the other thing is working for the creditors. So the creditors are the people who lend money. So, like, here in Kenya, you have like I start from the banks, then it comes through the chamas, and then there are now the applications nowadays that you can download on your phone and borrow from there. So, and now the fourth one now, in terms of minding your business. So the first one was minding your business owner's business. The second one was minding the business of the government, and then the third one is minding the business of the debtor. So the fourth one is minding your own business. So minding your own business is more about like making money work for you. So it ties in with the first lesson. So minding your own business is mostly about like knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, and then acquiring cash flow producing assets. So cash flow producing means that you get an income from that asset from time to time. So it's not like you put the money in there and now it just stays there. It is more about you take you put the money in there, and then maybe per week or per month or per 3 months you get something from it. The fourth lesson is the history of taxes and the power of corporations. So here's where now you go to like it gives you the history, like where taxes came from. So it goes so back, like now he gives the example of America. So he says that in the past America only asked people to pay taxes only when they were preparing for war. But if there was no war, nobody was paying taxes. So the way he talks about it is that the more the government received taxes, the more they wanted more of it. And now, right now, it is more like right now we are in the digital economy. So most of the time, you pay the taxes even before like you don't even tax the money. So you pay the taxes, and now before you even get it. And then the other thing he talked about is that there are different kind of taxes. So like the amount you pay, the percentage you pay for income tax is not the same like the percentage you pay with when you are having a business. So now after that, now he talks about corporations. So corporations are a way of protecting your money. So it's more like when your money goes through a corporation, the tax is so low, and also you don't have that much liability. So chapter lesson 4 is mostly about that, like how taxes came about and where they are right now, and then the relationship to corporations and how you can protect your money from being taxed too much. The fourth lesson is that, not the fourth, sorry, but the fifth lesson is the rich, the rich invent money. So here he talks about like money is not like the papers and the coins. So when he talks about money, what he means is that money is an idea or an agreement. So he talks like money is not like about getting the papers or getting the coin or your bank balance. So money is more like an idea or an agreement. So what that means is that when you are thinking about ways to make money, you should not think like about the money itself. You should think about the value you provide in terms of ideas or in terms of the agreement you put in place. So that the end goal of it now, like money is a reward at the end. It's not like the main thing you're focusing on. So the way the rich do that is that they don't focus on the money itself. They focus on generating the ideas or putting in the agreements that will make sure that that money is flowing as a product of it. Now, the last lesson now, number six, is that work to learn, don't work for money. So this one is mostly about like the first thing here is that you know yourself, and now you know like what you have and now what you don't have. And now for what you don't have now, you find ways to, when you take a job, you take it so that you can learn something. So from there I can say is that for me I did it like unconsciously. So in 2019 what happened is that I got a hunch that I should learn how to sell, and I I followed that hunch. And now in 2020 now I was selling movies, but it got interrupted by the corona mania. So what happened is that in 2021 now I decided I will continue with my lesson learning. So I went there, and now by the time I was getting, so I went there in January, and now by the time I was getting to May, like I'd really learned the skill of selling. So for me, I can say that at that time my focus was not like what I was getting from selling the cars itself. Like my main focus was to learn how to sell. So I did not bother like how much I had made, like how much had sold for that day. For me, my most concern was learning how to sell to people. So and now by doing that, I learned more about like different kind of customers. I learned about how to deal with the suppliers, with the other businesses, like in terms of partnership, or in the gas business. So I ended up learning like more than I had gone to learn there. So I had only gone there to learn how to sell, but I realized that there are different things that go into selling. So for me, that is the best example I can use of this lesson, like working to learn, but not working for the money itself. Like you know what you analyze yourself, and then you know what you are missing, what you have already, and then now taking the job that will enable you to learn about that thing, either you are lacking or to expand on what is relevant for you when you to raise it to a higher level. So for me, this book, what I can say about it is that what makes it so special is that Kiyosaki as uses uses very simple definition to explain the concept. So normally when you like now for me when I was doing business in high school, what happened is that so for example like the assets and the liability, for me it was so difficult to balance the balance sheet because I did not understand like what an asset was and what a liability was on the other hand. So but now from Kiyosaki the way it explains is that it makes it so simple. Like an asset is something that put money in your pocket, and on the other hand, a liability is something that take money out of your pocket. So when it explains it that way now, when you start looking at things around you now, it is very easy to know which one is the asset and which one is the liability. So for example, you can talk about something like paying rent. So that one is a liability. So for example, like me, I run a business, the NK Light. So it is a business like we deal in marketing and grant rating. So for that business now, the asset is that other people joining in. So like partnership. So the asset to the business is that they are providing a value that complements what we have in NK Light. On the other hand, liability is that now paying those people. So so on one hand you have the asset is the income that is coming in, and now the value that you are able to produce through those partnership to bring in that income, and now the liability is now for my business right now is paying those people and also paying for something like subscriptions, like hiring someone. So those are the liabilities there. The other thing about Kiyosaki is that he uses stories, and for me, I can say that I love stories. So, like for me, I find it so easy to understand the concept in there. And now the final thing is that he uses illustration, like gives you pictures and charts so that you can see the main difference. So, me, I can say that those three things are the main things that make the book so special. So he makes it simple. So the first one is he makes it so simple. The second one is that he tells stories. And now the final one is that he uses visual visual illustration. So like diagrams and the tables and the charts. So that is my review of the Rich Dad Poor Dad. So next week I'll be going into a book that now when I read it as the second book. So but when I read it is when I realized that Kiyosaki's books is like mostly like the foundation of it is based on this second book now. So and now I'll be going into it next week. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye. ADM.